wasn't I wearing green in the last? I can't wear this. So I'm back. In this video, I'm gonna show you all the books that I have started, but not quite finished just yet for numerous different reasons. These are all the books I have started, but not finished. I'm just gonna go through them and then I'm gonna pick a book and then I'm gonna read it and then we're gonna talk about it. So that's how this video is gonna go. If you can hear that noise, I have chickens. They're loud. Just ignore that. It's ambiance. The first book, Crown of Midnight, I read the first one. I read Throne of Glass, or not Throne, yeah, I read Throne of Glass, and I actually reviewed it. I was gonna put it on this channel and then I lost the footage. I got so angry that I just didn't do it again. I was getting really into the series, but I think because I lost the footage, I just was like sad and put this down and didn't pick it back up again. The second book was for a book club. It's called the Thursday Murder Club, and I started reading it. So I got 33 pages into this book and then I set it down and didn't pick it back up. Was it bad? I don't know. I got 33 pages in. Like, what do you want from it? Another contender. The next book I read was Saint. So March I read like a ton, like a crap ton of books, and I tried to sneak this in as like a last book to read, but no, maybe it was February. I forgot. It doesn't matter. The point is, I tried to sneak it into the month. I didn't get to read it. And then I needed to read another book for my book club. And by book club, I mean not a book club that I started by any means. It's other book clubs that I'm a part of. So I switched gears and started reading that book. And then I tried to go back to this book and I couldn't because I was no longer in the mood for this book. I made it 64 pages in. The next book that I started reading but didn't finish is The Atomic Habits. I actually just started this, so it really doesn't even need to be in this pile. It's a pretty good book so far. I like it. It's about changing habits. It's a would you call this a self-help? Some people would call it a self-help. Would I call it a self-help? It's about changing habits. Next, I started reading Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I started to read it for a book club. Everybody else in the book club had already finished reading it. There's literally just 3 of us. It's just the 3 of us and we're just chilling in this book club. I read 62 pages and it was good so far. I think I just kind of wasn't in the mood for fantasy. I think it was just a mood thing. The last book that I have, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. I don't really know why I stopped reading this. I just kind of put it down. I have no idea what happened. Oh, I got all the way to part 2. I got 90 pages into this and then I just set it down. I don't know why. This might be the book that I read. These are my options. Atomic Habits I'm gonna read. Like, it's just in this video. I'll just read 2 books so that it's fair. I think I'm gonna do Saint. I'm gonna go read these.
If you don't subscribe to my YouTube channel, I'm gonna send all of my dogs to you. All of them. So just subscribe. Subscribe right now. I forgot to say it last time. Do it now.
We are back in the chicken room. If you can hear the chickens, these are the 4 books that I read this week. First 2 that I said I was going to read is Atomic Habits and Saint. These were great books. I really liked Saint. It's a fiction book. It's about pirates. Not really, but kind of. It's the prequel to Fable and Namesake. And then there's this other book called Last Legacy, which I own but I haven't read, which follows the same universe but is not the same people, if that makes any sense. This was a great book though, and I really enjoyed it. I think this book is really just for the fans of Fable. I adored Fable. I loved Fable so much, and Namesake, so good. Like, it was amazing. It was incredible. Sinner, Savior, Saint. 4 stars. 4.5 stars, really. I felt the end was kind of cheap. Like, it just like magically works out in the end. Still enjoyed it. Then I read Atomic Habits. Was it a great book? Yes, it was. It was a really good book. I learned so much into it. I already have started using some of the habits and I feel so much more productive. So I do like this book. I would recommend this book. I don't know how many other ways I can say that I thought it was good, but it was good. So there you go. Then I read The Kingsman. This is the 3rd book in All for the Game. Let me tell you something. The first 2 books were It was giving mediocre. And please don't come for me. I know a lot of people really liked this series. The first book didn't make any sense to me. I was so confused. I was just like, what is the point of all of this? The first book is about this kid. He's a runaway. You find out that he's part of this mafia family. They're looking for him. They want to kill him. They've already killed his mom. He joins this sport called Exy. It's like a mixture between lacrosse, rugby, hockey. He's like put into this team, the Foxes. They become his family. It doesn't really make any sense because he hides everything from them. Like, he literally lies non-stop, but for whatever reason they like take a liking to him anyways. And there's this one, The Raven King. This is the book 2 of the installment. It kind of furthers along that storyline. You find out more about his past, you find out more about the characters in the book, a lot of the other people. Their motives make no sense. This book, people die. They're literally putting their lives on the line for this complete stranger who has done nothing but lie to them. I don't understand the motives behind it. It didn't really make any sense. Then you get to this book. I think this is when I started to actually like characters. This is when I actually started to enjoy the story. I did think a lot of their things started to make sense. It took so long for her to get to the backstories. Like, it took so long for me to understand why I should care about these characters. It should not take 3 books for me to care about someone. I did learn to really like the characters. Did end up liking the 3rd book. It gives a nice, good ending to things, a more realistic ending to things. Do the bad guys go away? No, the bad guys are still there. In fact, there's more bad guys. It still ends on a more realistic note. It's just realistic, I guess. I don't know how to explain this, but it was a good book. I did like it. Then the last book that I read was Then She Was Gone. This book will put you in a whole mindset. Let's just say it was a whole journey. I read it in one day. I kept trying to guess like what the twist was, and all the comments that I had seen were like, don't guess because you're not gonna get it. And I didn't. I was completely off. I mean, not completely, but like completely. The twist was twisty. It wasn't a bad ending by any means, but it wasn't like a good ending either. I just was there like numb and staring at a wall. I felt like no one had to face the consequences of their actions, but at the same time, like every single person had to face consequences for their actions. I didn't feel like anyone got like the justice that they deserved. It's about this woman, her like youngest daughter goes missing. 10 years later, the remains of her daughter are found. Her husband and her divorced. The 2 kids that she still has don't really talk to her, aren't really involved in her life. They're kind of like bitter because she's bitter. She meets this guy and they start a romance, and then he introduces her to his 2 kids, and like his youngest daughter, there's just something about her that sets the mom on edge. Allow your imagination to go into the worst possible scenario. Have you allowed that to happen? And now multiply that by 10. That doesn't even come close to the twistedness of this story. This book was really good. I really did like it. Don't recommend it. It was definitely a 4-star for me. Don't read this unless you're in like such a good mental place. Read it when you're in a really good mental spot. The thoughts that were thought in this book are quite disturbing. So that's the last book that I read. This week in books was pretty good. I enjoyed the books that I read, and I'm glad that I got to read some books that I had started and not finished. Also throw in like a newer book as well. I don't know why I keep just saying that it was good. It was good. I think that's all that I have for you. I'm gonna go now. Also, please subscribe so that you do see me again in case I do come back. This was quite the ending.